It is an amazing journey, with twists and turns, challenges and triumphs. It's a journey that we all embark upon, from the moment we take our first breath until our very last. However, it is not the destination what makes this journey truly extraordinary, but the path we choose to tread, the choices we make, and who we become along the way. It's not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about enduring it with grace, embracing the challenges and adversities that come our way, and transforming them into stepping stones towards our betterment. It's about realizing that failure is not ultimate. Yes, you might make mistakes, but that doesn't alter your duty to me and to this ship. And Commander, it is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness, that is life. I bet you did not expect that turn of events. Just to clear the waters, I didn't write any of what you've just heard. Most of it was written by ChatGPT, the language AI, and the final bit was a quote from Star Trek The Next Generation, a peak performance episode when Captain Jean-Luc Picard is compelled to help the ship's android, Commander Data, through a very human existential crisis. I thought of changing it to match the style, though I found it more appropriate to quote it in its original form. The reality is, we are at the dawn of a new civilization, and I am equal parts excited and afraid to see what artificial intelligence will bring into being. Anyway, to get back on track, in today's episode we continue from where we left off in episode 2. With a stroke of luck, we had an early autumn sunny day, so I decided to return to the Studland Peninsula and finish our journey. It was an incredibly early start to make my way here before the sunrise, but I am glad I did. I also wish I had better equipment to be able to film this bevy of roe deer as they're making their early start. As we stood there looking at each other, it felt like they were more afraid of me than I of them, because I wasn't afraid at all, mostly because they were so far away from me, so I felt safe. I also had a bicycle. And talking of bicycles, not sure why I thought it would be a good idea to wrestle with it through the soft sand. It most definitely doesn't do the chain any favors, but I'll give it a thorough wash when I get home. Before that, though, I have to figure out where I am, because I got lost, and I'm nowhere near the marked track I should be on. It's fine. I don't mind a bit of getting lost, a little unknown path, some not according to plan. Plus I have a drone, so I can have a look around to see where I'm at. Okay, that's not a good sign. Not just because they wrote World War XI and I don't know what to do with that information. But I most certainly don't want to be the lucky guy who found one of those lost landmines. So I thought it would be best to return on my own tracks and head back towards the beach. Before I forget, I'd like to acknowledge the elephants in the room and warn you not to allow your children to play unsupervised on that beach. As further east, about midpoint between the National Trust site and Shell Bay, where the ferry is, there's a stretch of sand dedicated as a naturist beach, which is another word for nudist, because the world needed two words for it. I can't fully understand why this could only be allocated on one of England's best stretches of coastland, but nevertheless it is there, and it's not a pretty sight. Be warned, once you see it you can't unsee it. And no, there are no happy hippie girls prancing around with the twins out. They're old men who should probably be on a state list, planted on the sand dunes like meerkats, competing to see who has the lowest hanging vestigial wattle. And talking of old men, it turns out I'm actually cycling on someone's drive. I'm still struggling to understand how there is no concept of public property in this country, and how you can just buy anything you want, including parts of a beach, harbor, and islands, if you are rich enough. But you know me, I am partial to a bit of trespassing, and I firmly share the Scottish belief that all people should have the statutory right to roam. But not in England and Wales, of course, because, well, I told you why in the previous episode. When I was 20 years old, I was lucky enough to spend 3 months in Grand Teton National Park, which is a bit like Skyrim on steroids, a bit like Skellige on a sunny day. And if that doesn't paint enough of a picture, then visit the Grizzlies in Red Dead Redemption 2, because it is literally it. When I was out there, among things I've learned such as don't travel alone in the woods, and don't feed the bears, because I was Chuck Norris to casually walk up to a bear and offer him a granola bar. I was also taught to only take photos and leave only footprints. Not entirely sure how they would feel about videos and cycle tracks, but I guess as long as I stay on the beaten path, it should be fine. I do appreciate Forestry England allowing public access to their managed woodlands, obviously with the caveat that one stays away from forestry work. They seem to be very keen on making sure people stay off the log piles, for obvious reasons, but if there is something obvious, is that the average person doesn't seem to have much reason. Also, don't leave poo bags hanging from trees like Christmas decorations. Not sure why I have to say this, and who started this fashion. No one will come pick it up. There is no magical poo fairy. If you don't want to carry it, you don't flip and bag it. Poo is biodegradable and a natural fertilizer. Just flinging off the track, let it be part of the cycle of nature. Also, I had a little emergency after that coffee, so some of it is mine. But rest assured, I'm not ashamed of it in the slightest. As I'm getting old, I appreciate more and more the value of peace and quiet. I've returned to these places so many times I've lost count, and I guess it's because of the peace and quiet that surrounds them. There is no nagging wife and no screaming children here. And if they happen to be, they're not mine, so not my problem. I also thoroughly enjoy a gravel road. I find it soothing to listen to the sound of the wheel cutting a track through the pebbles. It's like listening to the rain on a summer evening, but without the rain. I experience a feeling of primordial freedom as I'm traveling on unpaved paths, away from the concrete jungle. There is no traffic here, no shopping centers, no dedicated cycle lane constraining your existence between two lifeless lines amongst an army of caged men, each of which eager to run you over, if only they could get away with it. I'd much rather be here. Here is fine. As I'm rejoining the road towards the town, I am vividly aware that we're nearing the conclusion of today's journey. It wasn't the easiest episode to make, but it was the most enjoyable so far. I've never really been able to let things go, and I've been told many a time that I don't know when to quit. I don't care too much about having it diagnosed. I just believe that the harder the climb is, the sweeter the fruit, or something like that. I am grateful to be able to have some closure, and be able to visit all the sites I wanted to show you in Lemonade. These are places I hold dear, and if anything, I truly hope I could pass on a little peace and quiet upon yourself. Okay, not quiet per se, but you understand. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you again. Hopefully not too soon.